Next, we have Ayush Chopra, PhD student in our camera culture group. He has a focus on AI and complex systems, and he's published in a number of similar top scientific venues. He's also been awarded the Outstanding Young Engineer Award from Adobe. So some of our PhD students go straight through academia, some of them work and then come back. Ayush has both work experience and scientific and academic experience to bolster his view of the world. And I think that it's a very important thing right now because I think we feel viscerally how the world is increasing in complexity. It's even from when I was young, things have changed a lot. It makes our lives more stressful, it makes our jobs harder. But just as AI is driving some of that complexity, it may also be the solution to navigating that complexity. Let's hear from Ayush.
Hi, good morning. Hi. Yeah, so this is a picture I clicked at Whole Foods this past week. So you see $11 for eggs. That's pretty steep, right? But here's the twist. This isn't really about inflation. Okay, you see this price spike emerges from something far more complex and fascinating: bird migration. Every year, 5 billion birds migrate across the US skies. This year, they're carrying with them something called the H5N1 bird flu. As these birds are moving across the country, infectious birds land on farms where they infect chickens and cows. The chickens die, the cows get sick. From cows, infected milk moves through the dairy supply chain, infecting humans. As a result, we've had to kill over 100 million chickens, lost billions of dollars of dairy revenue, and also compromised human health. And this has happened just over the last year. But wait, why am I talking about birds? You see, this isn't really an isolated incident. Every day, billions of interactions shape our world, from crossing paths on the subway, executing digital transactions, engaging in classrooms and universities, or even when you have a package delivered to your doorsteps. Now, these interactions drive our society forward, but they're also our biggest vulnerability because they provide the opportunity for local disruptions to cascade into global crises across society. So how can we stop these disruptions before they become a crisis? Now, imagine if you could build a God's eye view to society, capturing how these interactions play out. What would you do? For instance, in the context of bird flu, I could capture how disease spreads from the wild birds to the farms onto our dinner tables, analyze how the incentives of individual farmers and preferences of consumers across the country can ripple out and affect the entire ecosystem, and then design policies to stop the spread of the disease and regulate prices. Building such a view is incredibly complex. This is because traditional AI systems cannot capture complex webs of interconnections, simultaneously analyze behaviors of millions of diverse entities, or make decisions in rapidly evolving scenarios with very little data. So to solve this problem, we need a new perspective to AI. We've been doing precisely that at the MIT Media Lab. So to solve this kind of a problem, we need to build AI systems that go beyond individual agency to also capture how interconnections play a role in shaping collective outcomes. With large population models, we do that, which allow us to simultaneously simulate millions of interacting agents, capturing how collective behaviors shape at a societal scale. As we speak, large population models are helping the CDC and the USDA tackle the bird flu problem from fowl to fork. We are simulating billions of interactions driven by extremely diverse multimodal data signals, continuous time migration patterns of birds, wastewater surveillance signals, genomic analysis, reporting behaviors on farms, analyzing the incentives of consumers and farmers to design targeted interventions. And to make this possible, we've solved fundamental problems in multi-agent AI and differentiable simulations. Our research has been sort of backed by multiple papers at top AI conferences and in AI and multi-agent systems, received several academic awards. And what we've been building isn't just an incremental improvement, but a fundamentally new paradigm of dealing with complex adaptive systems. Our systems provide orders of magnitude improvement over prior methods, and you can essentially commoditize the ability to simulate enterprise-scale ecosystems. And to take this technology beyond the lab, we've built this platform called Agent Torch, which allows you to build and design large population models. Think of it like PyTorch, but for large-scale multi-agent systems. And here is a quick demonstration. With Agent Torch, you can specify a scenario. Agent Torch simulates the outcomes and provides you visual and data-driven results that can be analyzed further. Now, you can tag and search, ask a follow-up question on a specific region, and get more precise contextual answers. And you can also use our layers capabilities to decouple the impact across different segments of the ecosystem, tracking how the event is really rolling out. And this has allowed us to take large population models across the globe. LPMs are helping the government of New Zealand bring life-saving vaccines to millions of their citizens by tracking hesitancy, behaviors, and logistical constraints on cold storage supply chains. In India, they're helping accelerate the adoption of solar energy to over 30 million households by modeling the dynamics of the grid and the purchase behavior of households. In the US, they're helping large Fortune 500 companies reimagine their supply chains for a sustainable future. So the question I want to leave you with is, imagine if you could turn your enterprise into a living lab, what would you do? Thanks.
Incredible work. Go ahead. Thank you. Yeah. Ayush, what size of population would you say is like where these tools and techniques become really relevant?
So I think they become relevant at the scale of like a few 100,000 to a few million. So agents and agency has become really interesting in AI at the moment. Mm-hmm. But a lot of current systems you see talk about like when they're saying multi-agents in the context of LLMs, it's like 5, 10, 1,500 agents. Mm. Now those can be great for like simulating qualitative scenarios, doing like role playing, or just doing like organizational testing. But if you're trying to like make decisions for ecosystem, you'll realize that the scale of interactions is often more important than the agency of an individual. Mm. That shows up in all kinds, like anything that's at a country scale, it starts to make sense. Like most enterprises today are pretty much small countries with like a few 100,000 people are extremely interconnected ecosystems. So few 100,000 to millions, and we've specifically built the technology so that it sort of really shines as you sort of hit the limits of interaction complexity.
That's right, yeah. I worked for the MIT IBM AI lab, but under IBM Research, but IBM is 300,000 people. Yeah. Yeah. It would have been very powerful to have some sort of, it feels like a nation state, you know, as you said. It would be very powerful to have some tools for understanding that ecosystem in the context of a larger population, which is its industry or customers that IBM serves, et cetera, et cetera. You mentioned multi-agent systems and agentic systems. This is a very big an important space in AI right now. Could you speak a little bit more to that, especially in the context of your work?
Yeah, so we've been doing this for almost 5 years.
And maybe define it for everybody, just to make sure we're all on the same page about agents.
Okay, so in the world, when you look at today, there are two kinds of agents. There are action agents, where I want some entity running on my behalf that can go online, book a cab, select a movie, do some tasks on behalf of me. That's like one class of agents, which is obviously like it has a lot of immediate applications. But the other class of agents that are also becoming relevant are these concepts of simulated agents, which may not necessarily run a task for me at the moment, but they sort of can be used to mimic tasks that are already happening in the physical world. Now, in the physical world, they might be implemented by humans or by autonomous action agents as you go forward. And the whole idea of building simulated agents interacting at scale is that can you have like an orchestration top-down view of your ecosystems as sort of these human autonomous agents independently, and their interactions become more relevant. So when we say agents in the context of large population models, we're largely referring to this class of simulated agents that are mimicking some actions in the physical world. And then there are like always ways to like close the loop, and so that our simulated agents can read from reality and write back to reality.
Yeah, we live in interesting times where already today, the world population, however many billion we are, and we have all these entities that we've created. But now, all of a sudden, we're going to have a massive explosion of AI agents, which, agents in the sense that we all have some form of intelligence, we all have perspective, and we all have our own data that we operate on. Now there's going to be an explosion, a population boom of AI agents who are co-pilots and so forth, working in teams, coming alongside us. So the dynamical system we're operating in has fundamentally changed in the last 2 years, and we need tools to reason about that. Exactly. How could a given company engage with you productively to take some of these open source tools, Agent Torch, whether it's the back end or the front end visualization, and adapt it experimentally to try to make progress in this space in terms of insights into their company or into their industry or to their customer base, et cetera?
Yeah, so we're always looking for design partners to work with. So a core layer of our framework is open source. Like you can just talk to your development teams, they can install and play with it, and that helps you sort of take it for a test drive, play around with it. And if you want to do more large-scale pilots, test it out on real enterprise data, leverage a lot of the templates, the advanced capabilities we have, we'd love to chat. We're very happy to do co-pilot, to do joint pilots with design partners.
So what would be your ask of the community? What do you hope somebody comes and says to you or asks you afterward? Can we be design partners? Is that what you're looking for?
I mean, we're design partners, and I feel like we've just touched the tip of the iceberg.
Yeah.
So I'm really curious to know how do you see this being relevant for your enterprise? What are maybe the top 5 challenges you face as a company every year? How can we essentially increase the throughput of insights you have as an executive to turning them into actionable outcomes? Because you probably have a lot of sort of gut feel ideas that if you're in executive meetings, you think about them, but most of them don't really materialize. So sort of my vision for this is roughly to be a co-pilot for an executive so that you can turn your gut insights into actionable outcomes. And I'd love to hear how we can help you do that.
Yes, I think it's a good reminder that even though we're on stage these couple days, and this is kind of you're in our house, if you will. There's so much expertise in this room that we need to do interesting and impactful work. So please be proactive, and not just at this event, but throughout the year, sharing your expertise, your domain expertise, the challenges with us, so that they can inform our work. Thank you, Ayush.
Yeah, thank you.